the internet isn't always my friend. But hopefully we're live and we're ready to go. So you are now with us for Beard Banter episode 29. For all my normal followers, I promise I will go back to normal topics at some point and stop begging you for money. But that'll be after you raise me $100,000. So
That's
for
right.
now, you're stuck with episode 3 of the Beardless Banter series, where we are interviewing people that have decided to be part of this cause that we've got going. But Ian, before we get going, let's go ahead and introduce you, if you will. Make your introduction. I'll leave your slide up for a second so everybody can see who you are, but give us the audio version of who you are and what the hell we're doing here.
Hello. I'm Ian Richardson, one half of Richardson and Richardson, alongside Carrie, my wife, and Matt, Carrie, and I all bumped into each other at IT Nation Connect about a year ago, and one thing led to another, and Matt foolishly agreed that he would part with his beard for a 6-figure impact on charity, and Carrie went, deal. And that's the problem.
Carrie didn't go deal. Carrie socially engineered me into doing it, and she knew what she was doing in the very beginning. I just want to make sure you understand this was not deal, like she got surprised by it. This was on purpose.
This is true. Carrie is a master social manipulator and social engineer. So
true story.
Understand that stuff is true. There is real risk in today's community around. Beard butcher. That'll be my next week title. I'm taking title solicitation. So. We're trying to make, I had this conversation earlier while doing donor recruitment, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that every news story, I don't think I've seen a positive news story involving cybersecurity, and this is our opportunity to be able to make one. Instead of talking about how bad the world is, we're going to help the world be better. We're trying to help out 5 different charities with some major impact, where each charity will get some total of $20,000 out of the $100,000, and we're just trying to make that goal and reach that impact and make the world a better place.
Yeah, and one of the things when we did this, I said, if I'm going to be involved in this, I used to spend 10 years on the United Way Funds Distribution Committee. And one of the things that always bothered me about that was startup charities that were just getting going had no leg up. They didn't have any fiduciary proof. They didn't have any ability to show that they have scaled their ability to do more than dollar to dollar for their community. And so oftentimes charities suffer there. I had companies that would come in and I loved them and they did a great impact for the community, but I couldn't fund them. The process wasn't set up to allow me to. They had to have 2x in-kind, contributions, and they had to have, and so you get into this point where my entire goal was to make it easier for these startup charities and small charities to succeed. And so I picked some that were a handful of startups and large ones. Women Who Code is a well-established and pretty awesome endeavor. They put on, I think, 500 webinars a day. Across their infrastructure. Diversity Cyber Council is a really cool Atlanta-based charity that's a gentleman that's self-funded this whole thing right now and is helping the 17 and 18-year-old constituencies in high school in that area get into cyber. Bits and Bytes, which is an 8th grade education program and a younger kids education program around cyber, which I think is desperately needed, right? And so the last one, obviously, we've got. I'll make sure I'm on the right microphone. Okay, I think I'm on the right mic. You can hear me okay. So then we also, thank you. Then we get into Bike Walk Wichita. I'm just going to be straight up honest. It's not cyber related, but I was on their board for a long time and I care about them and I'd like to get some funds to them. And then the last one is somebody else in the cyber community that has a very long and storied history. Brilliant gentleman named Mike Jones at The Haunted Hacker. And he started a charity that I'm on the board of. And it is Hackers for Vets. And Mike's goal we're going to hear about today because he's here. He's also a beard shavy. We'll get to him last. But we're going to talk with Mike about that and his charity. So that's essentially really the intro into that. We'll do a real quick recap, Ian, on kind of where we are. And I want to say thank you to our major donors, right? Barricade, Cyber Solutions, Eric Taylor, like he crushed it. I mean, crushed it. And for anybody watching this that's a major vendor, like he's tiny. And he gave $15,000 to charity. Y'all can definitely help me out and do better.
That's right.
There's Barricade Cyber Solutions now. He's watching.
There he is. Eric's waiting. He's waiting for someone to try to come to that number 1 spot.
And number 2, Damian Stevens last week with Servosity cracked out $10,000, which was epic. Ian, you and Carrie have donated. Heck, now what's the number now at this point? What's your going rate right now? You told me you'd be $50 an hour, right? Is that No, you're way more than that. Damn it.
Multiply that by 10 and add 100.
Okay, good. Well, then we're really understanding that you guys have given so much in in-kind donations and been a part of this fundamental aspect. And so 1,000 in cash so far, 1,099 in cash so far, and
That
10,000
$1
in kind.
donation was super triggery for me.
I saw that. And then Michael Crean came in with $1,900 to finish out Women Who Code as a full funding round. And to just touch on that, we've already done one funding for the $15,000 for Mike at Haunted Hacker because of Eric. He dedicated that to them. That's already in their bank account and starting to do good. And we are now about to distribute $10,000 to Women Who Code, as well as the $10,000 to Bits and Bytes as that goes forward. So we're getting to where we're actually almost through a full funding round for everybody. We've done some good everywhere. So please help us get to that mark. Other thing is, Eric popped this out. He said, hey, like I said last time, if someone matches my 15, we'll increase our donation. So you can make Eric spend more money out of his wonderful incident response gains. Thank you for your service, by the way, Eric.
So vendors that Eric has been poking holes in, this is probably a call to action where you could, poke a little bit
spend some
back.
money. Yeah.
Another thing to just mention really quick here, Matt, is that Damian Stevens also threw something out last week when we talked about this.
He did.
That anyone who will just have a simple conversation with his team, not sign anything, not agree to anything like that, he'll donate $200 per conversation. So head on over to Servosity.com and sign up.
Go check out Servosity.
Book a conversation, show up, and who knows, maybe you'll learn a little something. But the man's willing to donate just for the opportunity
to have a combo
with managed service providers. So that is a zero. You are able to donate $200 for a bit of your time. You don't even have to open your wallet. Now, what you should do is you should go do that, and then you should match Damian's donation and raise $400.
Now, that would make me very, very, very happy. So awesome to see that. I'm very happy. Eric just said awesome for that. I know we've got one person we got to be sensitive of his time. He's got kids that love him, apparently, still, so he wants to pick them up and be a good dad. So we'll get to him here, no doubt. Where are we? So we are at $38,050 right now raised. $15,000, 10 and 10 is 35 of it. We're $3,050 into the next distribution, and we believe, Ian, you got a little bit of an update from today's meeting an hour ago?
We believe that we have another $10,000 donor that will be coming in within the next 2 weeks, which will take us almost all the way to 50%. And I am absolutely positive that by the time we're ready to name and bring that donor onto this show, that we will find that extra $1,900 and whatever, $1,950 required to get us all the way to $50,000, which means that we will be at 50% before yours truly is spending 20 hours a week on the phone rattling cages.
Yeah, 100%. And what I might do, actually, Ian, after we get that donation, is reach back out to Mr. Crean, who has already told me at Solutions Granted that he would be glad to do this many more times. And that number might be the number to finish us up another 10,000. He'll be our closer. We'll call him our closer.
That's right. All right. You know what? I agree wholeheartedly with that.
So I want to bring up one of my friends, someone that I look up to that actually has taught me a lot in life and maybe punched me in the face a couple times. But Scott Davis with Lion Guard also has some really cool, his own personal socials. Get out and follow him. He can put it in the chat down here if you'd like. All right, Scott, I know you got a time thing going, something about loving kids and doing stuff to pick them up, whatever, school, I don't care. I'm just teasing. I love
it. Daycare, it's the younger kids. It's the younger kids in daycare. They charge by the minute, like many MSPs out there, that if you're late, it's $14.99 a minute.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
If they have to walk past 6 o'clock. So
we should get them to donate half of that to charity. Okay, so question one, brother. Tell me about yourself and what do you do professionally?
Yeah, so like, Matt said, I've known Matt here for a few years, but professionally, I've been in the cyber game for a long time. Technology over 20 years in total. Cybersecurity as far back as I can think, is really security has to be something you think about as you go through designing any infrastructure, doing anything with technology. So over 20 years of technology experience, background is cybersecurity and infrastructure. Did an enterprise game for a long time, then jumped in to the MSP world. 6 years in the MSP world, And that's really where I found what true dedication means by those 80, 90-hour work weeks.
I'll say it's like dog years, right? Like
dog years,
MSP years are
absolutely.
like dog years.
Definitely aged in those 6 years. But you learn so much. And then ultimately, I found myself joining Lion Guard right there at the beginning of the COVID world, and just looking for a different challenge, looking to grow myself even more and outside of that MSP space. Outside of working at Lion Guard, I am the lead sales engineer over at Lion Guard. But outside of that, I teach cybersecurity at Harrisburg University in central Pennsylvania. I run a nonprofit, the Cybersecurity Association of Pennsylvania. We've already been highly involved in a couple legislation meetings on just pushing forward with legislation in bettering cybersecurity, not just for the population and citizens of Pennsylvania, but also to help MSPs that may not have a seat at that table.
Preach it. I love it, brother. You know, that's one of the things I love about you is you definitely give. And most of the people I've selected for this are people that are all givers, right? And that's what's wonderful about this. So let's bring it to it. Why the hell are you giving your beard up? Tell me and the audience why you're participating in this cause, Scott.
Well, this is the longest this beard has ever been. And
it's very furry. It's getting pretty wild,
It
bro.
is definitely furry, and it is growing. My wife continues to tell the story that this is about only 3 months of growth.
Oh, I hate you.
And it was, I think, right before a day or two before you mentioned it on social media, and I reached out to you and like, Matt, I have to get involved in this. I have to be a part of it. And at that point, I told you I would before even asking the wife if I could.
That's a
Because at
bold
the end
move,
of the
Cotton.
day, she has to live with this too.
Beg forgiveness, don't ask permission.
Yeah. Well, which begs the question: how's she feel about this?
She's supporting it. She keeps telling me that just because I agree not to shave it doesn't mean I shouldn't trim it and keep it up. So we are doing some beard maintenance, just like you should do with your security practices.
I love it. And you tied it back to cybersecurity, which does naturally transition me to question 3. I think we've just done this before, Scott, like 20 or 30 or 90 times. Okay. Tell me one thing someone can do to either better protect themselves. And actually, you know what? I'm going to pull in Ian Richardson. Answer both. What can someone do to better protect themselves from a cybersecurity perspective? And number 2, how can they help grow a cybersecurity community? Right, the ability to have others start having, as Scott Augenbaum likes to say, a cyber secure mindset.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it around a little bit, because you're gonna hear so many amazing tips, and so many tips are so similar. But I think one that we don't hit on enough is the sheer fact that you never stop learning in the industry. You never stop learning in the field. The second you sit down, and become complacent and stop wanting to join that webinar, stop wanting to read that book, stop wanting to just read that news article of what's the latest thing, is the second you become complacent, the second your security practices fall behind, and the second ultimately you open yourselves up for a breach that you're not thinking about. I always focus on the fundamentals. I always focus on don't click the link. These are things you hear a million times, but truly, the second you stop educating yourself, you stop growing yourself, that's the second you truly open yourself up.
Yeah, that's a huge call out, because the body of knowledge is always changing. I do this exercise where I go, okay, you guys in the audience, rank yourselves on 1 to 10 as practitioners on how much you know about cybersecurity. And after everybody gets done patting themselves on the back and saying I'm a 7 or I'm a 9 or I'm a 10, I tell them I'm a 5 or a 6. And even with all the letters behind my name and all the research and all the things I do every day, it's always changing. I cannot ingest enough to stay ahead of it. I will always be a 5 or a 6. And the minute I start thinking I'm an 8 or a 9.
0.5.
But you know what, Ian? We still love you, even if you're not cyber affiliated.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
I know.
my buddy
Like,
Brian
you know what
Wheeler
the thing
says he's a
is, though,
4.
is if someone messes with me, I know so many smart dudes in the cyber area. I will F you up.
True story. There's some serious hitters sitting on this here call, and it's not me. So, yeah, 100%. And Brian Wheeler is probably one of the most humble humans I've ever met. I love him to death. He's probably more of a 6 in my mind than a 4. Good to see you out there, buddy.
Oh, you're all beautiful. You're all 10s. Come on. You're
all 10s in my book.
This is not how this works. This is not how any of this works. I unfriend you. Listen, Scott, we're going to go ahead and give the next person a shot to go pick up your youngins. And I think I met your 15-minute mark you wanted. So I really appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, man.
Cheers, bud. All right. Next, we're going to bring up a giant Nordic man that I feel was unfrozen 2 days ago and has a massive red beard. So let's bring in Nordic Cole Halpin. What's up, brother?
How's it going, guys?
How's it
Man,
going,
beautiful,
Cole?
isn't it?
I
So
don't know.
fun.
Like, is yours as long as Matt's? Like, now we have to have like a
That's
beard
not nice.
measuring.
It's longer. Ian, why are you going to call out stuff? That's not cool. And
Yeah,
Sarah
not
Henderson
everything's
says, "Can I be a zero?" So our friend Sarah says she wants to be a zero. Being a zero doesn't make the guys not attack you, though. The threat actors will still attack a zero. So no, you want to be at least a 0.1 if you can. So, but Cole, we had a fun interchange yesterday. You and I did a recording in Denver, and I asked him, "Would you recommend PAX 8 to others?" And what was so funny is Cole's on our pack. He's my buddy. I love him to death. And he goes, "No," and just starts laughing. And he goes, "Do you want to cut again?" I was like, "No, I'm going to use it. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you." So we're going to be using that live of you saying no. Anyways, good to see you here, brother. How are you?
Glad to be here, my man.
All right. So tell me about yourself and tell the people in the audience what you do for a living and professionally. We'll use loosely.
Well, yeah. So I'm Cole. Cole Halpin. I'm VP of Managed Services here at Machine Logic. But I was busy running an MSP up until earlier this year in March. So a lot of people know me. I mean, I've been in the industry for the last 12 years. You know, it's a big piece of my heart. It's hard to believe or hard to think about going anywhere else. You know, I basically feel like I've grown up in this space, meeting a lot of good people like Matt and Ian and so many other guys between conferences and just talking about different events or just being on different packs or talking about cybersecurity because I love to nerd out like a bunch of the next guys, even though I'm like a 2 compared to everyone
whatever.
else. 6 or a 7.
You were a 10 in my boardroom yesterday.
No, I was representing Nathan, and I was a 9 for him because I wanted you guys to throw shade at him.
All right, fair. Well, then I'll do that appropriately then.
All right,
that's fair. Next time I see Nathan on Friday, I'll tease him about it.
Good, absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're now at Machine Logic, and you've been in this capacity now for about 6 months. Am I right on that in my memory?
Yeah, 5-6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool, man.
Been a really good ride. I love the guys over here. I'm known for anyone who's not familiar, like Dan, Nathan, all the guys over here at Machine Logic. I've known them for a long time, so It was a really easy transition. We have a lot of similar, kind of thought processes and how we approach the industry and how we want to move it forward. We don't want to just stagnate. We want to innovate in what we're doing and how we're approaching both the channel and how we approach things for our clients. So there's a lot of great overlap there, and it's been a great ride.
I'll give a shameless plug for Machine Logic, and actually I'll probably go back and give one for Scott posthumously here. Scott at Lion Guard's an awesome product. Joe Alpat, their CEO, he very much had the vision of them being a security company 7 years ago or so when they started, and it was when nobody cared about security in our channel. It was a very low level of adoption in the MSP channel, and he couldn't market it that way. They didn't care. They didn't think of information data as part of security. But what they can do on the back end is awesome. I mean, for example, one of the larger losses I took was an MSP had turned off an MFA. One of our employees had turned off MFA in troubleshooting and then left it off. And instead of following the ticket and fixing it, they didn't. And as a result, there was a compromise and there was a BEC. And ultimately, that creates liability for the company, right? And so what if you had a platform that goes, hey, I got a rule that if anybody has MFA off for longer than 24 hours, we need to have an escalating alert that gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. LineGuard does a really good job of setting those fences and being able to do that as a very large data set for lots and lots of applications being brought in. So love them. And then the shameless plug for you guys is I cannot think of another MSP, even the one that I still have a few 100,000 friends in, and I don't mean humans, that is as good as what you guys are, that is moving the industry as far as you are, that is driving into this the way you guys are. And it's not your fault, Cole. This came from before you, but I can only imagine you're helping. So Machine Logic is amazing, and I'm very, very excited to still be friends and partners with you guys for so long. And you're right. When you walked in there, you were already a choir boy. Right, y'all already speaking the same thing, and I've been on the same partner
Rex
advisory
Frank?
Council. What's that? Is that Rex Frank? It is Rex Frank. But the thing is that you guys have always been that company, and we all served on a pack together. For most people that don't know, partner advisory council together, and I got to see that from the other side, and you did too before you joined Machine Logic, which is fantastic. So, the question of the hour: tell the audience, if you will, why are you participating in this cause?
Yeah, I mean that one was pretty easy for me because when I was talking to Matt about it, he had this idea, and I was like, as you see right now, this took about 2 weeks to put together, so it's not a lot of commitment. Again, I'm a Norwegian guy. Like it just comes in. It just feels my own. So after
I
we're done
hate you.
saving, it's gonna come right back.
Wow. So it just didn't mean much to you, is what you're saying to these
Yeah,
charities? No, that's cool. That seems like a reasonable reason to do something.
Thanks, Matt. No, I
Fair,
mean,
fair.
this is one of those things where it's obviously for such a good cause that it was a no-brainer to me. I mean, I love my beard. Obviously, it's near and dear to my heart. As well as it comes in, I was going to be so sad to see it go. But at the same time, I mean, as a great way to make money for charity, there was just no way for me to pass up on an opportunity like this.
Yeah, I 100% echo that, right? Like, if everybody doesn't know the story, my VP of operations back in the former MSP, when one day we were at lunch and he says, listen, Matt, how much money would it take for you to shave your beard? And I said, like, there's a number, but it's not in your pocket, right? Like, it's not a monetary situation. I like my beard. I identify with it. My Cybermat Lee is a beard brand, right? Like all of that stuff. And so then he pauses a second and goes, what about for charity? And I said, crap, right? Because I'm going to die one day. I want to go ahead and do something. How many people get to say they've done this and you're participating in it, right? So, but yeah, Jess Bishop, I want to say hey to you. She's awesome. She just got her first cybersecurity job. I think she follows Mike, or maybe has even had him as a mentor. But fantastic. It's good to see you, Jess. Okay, last set of questions. Tell people that are listening today what they can do to better protect themselves, or how they can grow a cybersecure mindset and a cybersecurity
there you go. See, Matt, you just changed it right live. You said and.
I tried.
And it's just one word.
We do it live, right? We do it live, Ian.
Right,
it's just
baby.
how we roll here. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, Matt always changes up, but he's always talking, so his brain just can't keep up. I mean, one of the things I would say though,
I try to smoke copious. Never mind, it's okay.
The biggest thing I would always say, especially people like trying to get into it or trying to like up level themselves, is get behind some level of sort of some compliance type framework. Again, I'm a huge fan of CIS for top 18. So if you want to get into that, like that's a great way to kind of get structured or get going. Anything like that. I love any of the compliances. I mean, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, is it comes down to constant education. I mean, that's a big thing. And if you want to try and educate yourself or bring it around kind of wider, like getting into any sort of groups or peer groups or talk channels with a lot of the other guys in the industry, there's so many groups and so many guys that are trying to tackle a lot of the same type of
and gals, being inclusive,
that we're facing right now. I just was meeting with a few other MSPs just about an hour ago, and we were having an exact conversation about tracking CIS controls for your clients, for yourself, and what that's going to look like. So that would be some of the best ways that I would start. There's really no wrong way to get started.
That's awesome, brother. And actually, you are speaking towards my heart in that I feel that the gap, and the reason I did that exercise of raise your hand and tell me if you're a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or a 10, was to illustrate that the client's knowledge of that is even lower. Nobody said their clients were above a 1. 0.1. There was this one lady that actually said, well, if they've met me, they're now a 10. I don't think that's true, my friend. But okay, if that makes you feel
like
good.
Osmosis.
Yeah.
Put this right there, and I'll learn.
Oh man, listen. So I gotta say, it'd be unfortunate if something happened to that beard of yours, my friend. But it looks like we're getting closer and closer to it. Now, I will say that she meant Cole, but she said if Cole can sing some ZZ Top, my day will be complete. You got any ZZ Top right handy, brother?
I am not a ZZ Top guy. Come on now. You can't put me on the spot like that.
I had to, bro. I had to. I can't not put it up. It's a comment. I got to put it up unless it's horrible. All right. Fair enough. Oh, no. Thank you, Matt.
Great advice.
This is why we can't do this stuff live, man.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Cole, I really appreciate it. You're welcome to hang out. I know Scott had to leave, but you're welcome to drop down here in the bottom. And I'm going to bring in Mike, the Haunted Hacker Jones, who is both a beard donor and a charity owner. So it is fantastic to be able to help both sides, and it really shows him putting his chin and his chin whiskers where his heart is. So let's bring Mike on, and Ian's going to get some interview questions in with Mike.
Mike, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you? It's good to be here.
Dude, I'm good, but you're at a spooky house, and now I'm scared.
Well, it's the Haunted Hacker.
I don't know. It's a haunted house, that's for sure. Mike, like you've seen how we kind of run through this. Tell everyone who you are, what you do professionally, but then also I'd like you to also give us some information about Hackers for Vets after that. So I'm adding in a question here, and this is what happens to Matt when he gives me the microphone. I just change shit up.
Sure, not a problem. Again, it's good to be here. So professionally, that I use that term very loosely. Like I don't do a whole lot
You
of
should.
things.
I do too. Yeah.
I don't do a whole lot of things professionally. I do things Mike's way. Um, so, so what I do, I run an MDR. I manage the MDR for several clients. I do pen testing. Um, I do a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what I don't do at this point. And why I decided to do the beard shaving. So this is interesting. So I brought Matt on to my board of Hackers for Vets, which I'll talk about in a second. And Carrie reached out to me and said, "Hey, you have a beard. What do you think about shaving that?" And I
I
said,
told you.
I said, I said, wait a minute. Let's discuss this for a second. I said, what does Matt have his set to right now? She said, $100,000. I said, okay, we'll make mine 300,000, and I'll do it then. But somehow I have a feeling that I'm going to be shaving this regardless if we hit 300,000 or not.
You know,
Well,
we're
I'll
not.
tell you
We're not.
what, like,
Go ahead, Ian.
so at 200,000, I'm gluing Matt's beard to my face. At 300,000, I'll glue your beard to Carrie's face. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sweet. You heard that.
At
Yeah.
400,000, I'm gonna take Schlegel's beard and like put it off the side of my head, like
Mickey Mouse
some
ears.
weird-
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Mickey
that'd be
Mouse
nice.
beard had a Jason Schlegel's beard. And Cole, I don't know what we're gonna do with yours, but something, man. Like,
Well, and we're not saying it right now, but we have a BHAG mic, or in the MSP community, a big, hairy, audacious goal, which I think is perfect for a beard shaving event. But we have a BHAG that's really ridiculous. And once we get to that 100,000 mark, we're going to use that as momentum to really start knocking this out. So
I'll be
stay
fair.
tuned.
Like, I don't know how to fail, and I'm not about like I'm too old to learn. So
Yeah, fair. You just fail fast and keep moving.
that's right. I don't fail. I learn, Matt. I
Yeah,
learn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Sweet. So
I'm a lifelong learner.
Nice. So the Hackers for Vets, the actual nonprofit that we started, basically is raising money to help veterans that are coming out of the service or have been out of the service get into cyber and make that transition a little bit easier. Because when I got out of the service, transitioning from military to civilian world kind of sucked, and they didn't know what to do with guys like me.
And it didn't go well for you, right, Mike? It
No.
had some story of learning. Yeah.
A little bit. A lot of learning and a lot of pain, and a lot of struggle, but it's doable. And as long as you don't take the wrong route, things can be super easy. But the problem is with the military, like back when I got out, which was 2003, 2004, they didn't have transition specialists that knew how to deal with people with top secret security clearances or, intelligence backgrounds. It was kind of like, well, it's great. You're pretty smart. You'll figure it out. Have a good time. So I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to make it a little bit easier for guys trying to get into cyber, and you don't necessarily have to be in the intelligence community or the IC to get in.
Just a DD-214 and proof of a clean exit. That's it. You didn't punch your commanding officer in the face? Huzzah! You're out. It's great. Let's help.
That's right. And so far we have submissions open for the award in December, which is 10,000. And check this out, dude. We only have 2 applicants so far. $10,000 for free, and there's only 2 applicants.
What do you think that is, Mike? Is it an advertising challenge? Is it a heart challenge for these people? Is it a leg up problem? What do you think drives that? I know we're digging off script here, but just curious.
Well, I hope it's not a reflection of the military now, which I really think it's not. I have a feeling it has more to do with, a lot of generations younger than us think that they should be able to just obtain something without actually having to do a little bit of work. And writing an essay to show why you deserve the award may be a little bit too much work for some people.
Wow.
But it's free money. So,
well, if you're listening here and you submit your piece to him, you have a 1 in 3 shot of being selected today. And yet you probably played the lottery last Thursday. So maybe try something a little better odds, write a damn survey or an essay, and let's get your request out there. And I think what was so enthralling to me, Mike, about the way you wanted to do this when you first pitched this to Jerry and myself and Jax and everyone was you didn't want to put a lot of reins around it. You didn't want to put a lot of restrictions, just a very esoteric, hey, write an essay and we'll donate this much money and you can go do what you want to help your life move forward. Now, that's a lot of risk. There's a lot of challenges with that. And I was telling Ian earlier, the reason I wanted to donate to charities like yours is it's very hard for a startup charity to get funding. Because when you don't have proof that you've taken that money and done something fiduciarily good for that human or for the overall market, and you don't have proof that you've gotten in-kind donations to match and growth, and it's almost impossible to get it. And so I wanted to take some risk. I've got a big enough beard. I have some money sitting in the bank account if I have to do it. But I wanted to take a chance on startup charities. I wanted to take a chance on small charities. And, I hope that karma doesn't hurt me as a result. But I'm excited about being able to do that when most people wouldn't be in that realm. It'd be looking, the United Way methodology. So very cool. I'll shut up and let Ian continue interviewing. I'm not known for being a good person and shutting up, but I'll try real hard.
That's all right. I'll just hang on. Wait, this side. Wow.
There. Oh, thank you. Oh, God, that hurt.
There it is.
Rex Frank steps up and slaps me in the head. No,
Mike, we kind of talked about why you're participating in the cause, and I really appreciate you sharing that out there. And for those of you on LinkedIn, I just threw a post down about this to kind of raise some visibility. So if you're watching the Beard Shave right now, go ahead, comment, like, share on my post so that we get a little bit of visibility. We can get some more impact for Hackers for Vets. But You've been around the block in cyber, Mike. What's the tips that someone like me, who is not cyber, can do to protect themselves better? And what's a tip too that someone like me, again, someone who's out of the space, can do to try to encourage people to go into cyber and to grow the community's talent? Because my understanding is we got a big deficit in the space that we are not filling. It's getting bigger. And we're not developing the pipeline.
Now, I'm going to start with that because I'm really passionate about that topic. And I hate to say it, but the gap and the inability to find qualified people is such bullshit. I'm sorry if that's wrong language.
Look at Jess's story. I mean, 100%, Mike. Look at Jess's story in that exact regard. I mean, yeah.
Bro,
sorry. Go ahead.
I just hired Jess. I just hired three.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
3 people in 1 week. The idea of there's not qualified talent out there. I'd like to meet that HR person who started that rumor because it's so not true. There are so many people out there that are qualified and ready to work. It's just HRs put these ridiculous stipulations on hiring people, and they're killing the industry. Really, HR is single-handedly killing the industry.
I would agree. In the
I wouldn't
sense
say HR is killing every industry.
Well, but I mean, here's the point I would agree so much with is that, the challenge with HR is that you're always looking for qualifications, not human traits. And cyber is a human trait challenge. It's not a qualification challenge. Is there a certain base layer? Yeah, but I can teach that. I need a heart. I need someone that can think. I need someone that can be actionable. I need people that can, right? And so I think, Mike, you and I don't get to chat about this much, but yeah, 100%. It is not that we don't have the talent. It's that we won't train and acquire the talent. And that's a very different problem.
100%.
But, yeah. And then Jess said she's eternally grateful. This job is everything she imagined her first cybersecurity job would be. And, if you think about that, you may have sparked 20 or 30 more people in cybersecurity because she knows people and she's met people and she's going to make friends and they're going to go, maybe I should be in this space. Maybe there's a talent for my brain. So, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and she's a prime example of somebody who came to cyber from a non-traditional cyber background. I mean, she comes from a law enforcement DoD background.
Right.
So there's plenty of jobs for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. So now back to Ian's next question. See what I did there, Ian? I almost messed up. I was almost that guy, but then I didn't.
No,
I punted
we're
it back
just
to you.
halfway through my question, which is what's something that me, a cybersecurity layperson, a 0 or a 0.5 or a 1 on the 1 to 10 scale, I guess, down at the bottom of the knowledge basis around cyber, what's something that a normal person can do to protect themselves? And don't stop with 1. If you got 5, I'll take 5.
Okay, so
Hang on, let me get my pen.
Yeah, get your pen. I'll start with the one that means the most to me and I think has the most impact. is mobile devices. These little things that we carry in our back pockets called cell phones, that have more computing power than the first rocket that went to the moon. We're carrying that and doing not just work, but home, family, banking. Everything you do at every function of your life is done within that phone. And
Mhm.
people do not protect their phones. I did a proof of concept and ran through 4,000 phones in 24 hours. Like that should not happen.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one is look at your mobile devices and look where you spend your most time. Two, the only way to get ahead or to gain foothold in the industry or in your career is if you give the shit away. Like you can't expect to harbor knowledge and gain knowledge and become this uber cyber person and not give back. If you do that, we don't need you. Like
Yeah.
share what you know to get everybody better. And this goes for companies too. Talk to each other. If you can't talk and you can't help everybody get to where we need to be, then we don't need you.
Yeah. I hadn't heard it said that way, but I will say, Mike, like it really is that. Is that one of the things when I was on this MSS forum earlier is that the human body has a corollary that patients come back the same way. We have all these things, but the difference is the body of knowledge about the body is growing, the body's not changing. We're in a world where the body is changing, right? So if you've learned something, if you've discerned something, you got to share it. A great example, Microsoft has a persistence flag that you can set on an OAuth token. And I just learned last week, and I'm sharing right here, that persistence flag is subject to being taken by Evilgenics. I can
Mhm.
still do that persistence flag even though it's set. And so I learned, hey, this Microsoft tool does not combat this attack, right? And so you have to understand that, or else I, for 2 years, have believed that nobody could steal my tokens because they were protected with, not persistence. Well, guess what? The whole cookie has all the persistence in it. So when it goes over, it's persistent. So
Right.
it's kind of one of those situations. And so sharing that and being able to do it in a way that's meaningful and with the right community, to your point, if not, you really are useless. You really only have a scale of 1 to 1, and that doesn't help. It has to be a
Right.
many to one scale. So
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
And with our culture, I come from a hacking background, a hacking culture. Like we believe in freedom of information and sharing information. Like we should not have to pay for that shit. And for people to sit there and harbor all that info, could you imagine if people like Chris Roberts decided that, I've been in this industry for 26 years and screw y'all, I'm not sharing any of the information I know.
Yeah,
Like
he's the definition of giver. Like I want to
how
be him one day.
how bad off would we be? Like
We'd be
you have
screwed.
to share. Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you take anything from what I say, share your information.
I love it. Ian, I think we've gotten to the end of this one. I do want to do another humble, please give us funds. I would really like, if you're watching this, I know there's a few because I get about 200 on LinkedIn and about 5 or 6 over the next, today on YouTube and everybody else's channels. So I know you're watching, so you can't
Yep.
hide. Okay, you're watching. I know you are. Go donate. If you haven't
Grab out the
donated,
wallet, donate $50,
20
donate
bucks,
$100,
$10. I don't care if it's
whatever.
a nickel, right? Like, give us some money to help
Go
these
sign up for
charities
some time with Damien, and then you can add $200 to your funds. Come on, seriously, that's free
without
money
any
sitting out
cost.
there. That's
Yeah.
free money out there right
Yeah.
now. So
Well, we will close out by saying we are at $38,050 raised. We're 38% of the way through. We're getting another 10% the next week. Puts us at 48. It looks like some beards are going to fall off. So
well, but like Matt, you might as well just call it out. We will be at 50% over the next couple of weeks. We will be
yes.
halfway there,
Yep.
and we're just getting started. So
Yep.
there's zero reason why we can't continue this forward. There's zero reason why we can't continue the impact. So like, comment, share, throw this stuff out there. Social media is the easiest groundswell
Yeah.
for visibility on this. So just take the
And to
post,
the
take the link, and throw it out there. You don't have to, if you're not participating, if you don't have a graphic, it doesn't matter. Like, throw it out there. Tag Matt, tag me, so we know you're putting it out there. We'll like, comment, share your post. It just creates a snowball effect. The more people who see it, the more chances we have for donations. The more donations we have, the more people we can help. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I also want to say, because oftentimes I miss this, but for the 90 people that have donated at this time, there's 88 on GoFundMe. There are 2 more individuals. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mike Jones and his charity is going to award some exiting veteran that may not now go down a bad path because of an aspect of being able to get a leg up. So thank you. Please continue. We would love to have more of them. We'd love to make this something that everybody remembers for a very long time. So thank you for letting me be a part of it and helping us down our journey. Thanks. See y'all.